Hello, welcome back to Buckle Up. My name is Rob Wilson and this is the new MG ZS Hybrid Plus. And today we're going to find out if it's any good. So let's start as we usually do at the front, where we can see there have been a lot of changes here, much more in line with the new HS and the new 3. We've got some slim headlights which fall into a bar that goes across the front. Now this isn't a light bar, it's just a silver piece of trim. We've got a much wider, more aggressive, sporty grille, which is again borrowed from the other cars in the MG range. This has got some nice chrome touches on it as well. MG badge proudly displayed on the bonnet now rather than on the grille, but I think what we'll do is have a look at the side, because here we can see the new 18-inch alloy wheels on this trophy spec. You get 17s on the SE. We've got some nice crease work going along the side of the car with a nice strong shoulder line, and here I think is where we can see the car's dimensions have grown, because it has got 10 centimeters longer than the old car, so that should add to practicality. But let's go and have a look at the back and see what's going on there. And here we find the new LED tail lights, the MG badge here in the center, the model designation down here in the bottom corner of the boot, and a piece of black and silver trim which is trying to be a bit sporty. You've got some cutouts for exhaust, but they are not there, they are underneath. But what I'll do now is open up the boot and I will take a pew, because we've got 443 litres of space back here, which is actually slightly smaller than the outgoing model, and that's because this is a hybrid, so they've had to fit all of that stuff under the boot. But if I fold the rear seats down, then that goes up to 1,457 litres, and that is 80 litres, give or take, bigger than the old car. So that's where the extra practicality is coming in with the enhanced length of this car. We've also got some interesting features back here that we didn't have in the old model. We've got some hooks on the top of the boot there. We've got some tie down points, and this boot floor is now slidable, so you can actually lower it to give yourself a little bit more room. And when that boot floor is in its lowest position, that does mean that there is a hump, so you can't push things all the way through. We've got some nets on either side of the boot, but I'll raise this back up now and then I will go and sit in the back seats and see how much room there is for quite a tall person like me. Okay, so the back seats, let's talk room back here. I have the driver's seat set up in my driving position, and for reference I am 6'2" or 188 centimeters tall, and as you can see I can get my knees just about behind the front seat, and if I want to man spread a little bit I can do that as well. In terms of headroom, I've actually got quite a bit above where my head is, so even if I sat all the way upright, plenty of room there, so pretty good considering this is a B segment crossover. Way more room in the back of this than something like a Yaris Cross, for example. Some of the features we've got back here, we've got seat back pockets on both the front seats, we've got some climate vents here in the middle, but you don't have the ability to change the temperature back here. You'll just have to ask your driver very nicely. You've got a USB port there for charging, but only one. The door pockets are big enough for a decent sized bottle of water, and the materials back here, while fairly hard and cheap feeling, the bits that you're actually going to be touching, like where you rest your arm, is a soft squidgy bit, so I'm fine with that. There is no central armrest here in the middle seat, but you do have Isofix on both of the outer seats. Footroom is okay. You have a little bit of a hump in the floor if you were in the middle seat, and I'm not sure that it would be particularly comfortable if you had 3 adults back here, but really for this class of car it's pretty good back here. In fact, it's really good. So let's head up front and see what's going on there. Okay then, so up here in the front, and a lot of this will be quite familiar to owners of other newly released MG products, and if you were an owner of the old ZS, then this will be worlds apart from your car because it's all changed for the better. So let's talk about the steering wheel. It's not round because it's the one basically from the MG4, and I'm still not 100% convinced by that. On the left hand side I have my controls for setting distance for my cruise controls, volume, voice control and various other things like that. And then on the right hand side I've got telephone functions and then in-screen functions, so I can mess about with my 7-inch driver's cluster display in the middle there. Now I do have two favourite buttons, and they are shortcut buttons that can be configured to whatever you think you're going to need most. So in this car it's currently set up with this one to change the level of regen. You get 3 levels of regen in the new ZS Hybrid, which is more options than you get on pretty much any other hybrid out there. And then the star button on this side is a shortcut to my climate control functions. So once I've pressed that star button, I can then use the toggle arrow button to the right of that to control the temperature by moving the arrow up or down, or left and right for controlling the fan speed. So you don't have to go in to the new 12.3-inch infotainment screen to do all of that. And in that screen you can also connect up your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but it is wired only at the moment. You've got navigation as standard on both models. You've got various different shortcut buttons below it if you need them. Shortcuts to the climate, although I've just explained you can use the steering wheel. Front window heater, rear window heater, hazards, home button and volume buttons. And then below that you've got where you plug your devices in. So you've got a USB-A, an old device, and a USB-C, as well as a 12-volt socket if you want additional charging. Then there's sort of a little shelf there where you can put your phone, and there is another one here to the left of the drive selector and stop-start button. Again, no wireless capabilities here. There's no wireless charging integrated. I suspect that'll be something that comes along in the not too distant future. You've got this wing shaped drive selector though, so you just pull it for drive, push it forwards for reverse, and then you get your reversing camera, and on this top spec trophy model you get full 360-degree top-down view as well. You've got your nice looking start-stop button, electronic handbrake release and drive mode, so you can pick between comfort, eco and sport. You've also got 2 cup holders here, and if I lift up this armrest there is a storage bin in there as well, which is a fairly decent size, big enough for a box of tissues. The door pockets again are nice and large. The glove box is a very decent size, not like one of those French ones where you only get half of a glove box. And generally the design and the materials, yes, they're not the best up here, but on the dashboard, squidgy. The bits you actually touch, where you rest your arm in the middle, it all feels nice. This steering wheel's got some nice perforated leather on it as well. But I think what I'll do now is head out on the road and go for a little drive. Okay then, so out on the road driving the new ZS Hybrid Plus. And I guess I'll start by talking about the Hybrid Plus part of that name. If you are familiar with the new MG3, then you'll understand this powertrain because it's exactly the same one in this car. It's a 1.5 naturally aspirated 4-cylinder petrol engine that is then mated to a quite big 1.83 kilowatt hour battery, and that means that combined hybridness gives you 194 PS and just over 300 newton meters of torque, and that means 0 to 60 in 8.7 seconds and a top speed of 104 miles per hour. Now, being a hybrid obviously brings with it other benefits, mainly efficiency. So we get 55.4 miles to the gallon out of this unit on a WLTP combined cycle. It also drops the CO2 figure quite dramatically from the old car. It's now 115 grams of CO2 per kilometre, and the whole car itself weighs under 1.5 tons. So it's still quite light despite having quite a large battery on board. Those efficiency figures are welcome, but the main story here is that you're getting a car with nearly 200 horsepower, and here's the crucial bit, it doesn't cost the earth. Sticking with the MG mantra of value for money, this car starts at under £22,000 for the SE model. If you want the trophy specification like I have, then it'll cost you another £2,500. That's an uplift over the old car of £1,100-ish, depending on the spec that you went for. But 1,100 quid to get double the horsepower, a hybrid powertrain, a massively upgraded interior, more room in the back, seems like a pretty good deal to me. Added to that, you also get the peace of mind of the 7-year, 80,000 mile warranty that MG offer. And it's not skimping on kit either. I've already talked through the 360-degree camera. We've got the full suite of MG Pilot safety assistance systems. So you've got lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring. All of those safety things are now included as standard as well, which is really nice to see. In terms of how the car drives, it's very smooth. You've got a 3-speed automatic, which is a little bit antiquated, but it does work quite well with this powertrain. When you're driving around at slower speeds around town, it's mainly using the electric power on board, but when you do put your foot down and the engine kicks in, it isn't a jolt, it's just a smooth transition into the hybrid power. It's quite comfortable, the suspension's reasonably compliant, if a little bit bouncy, but I can't really mark it down for that. The brakes are decent and quite sharp, and there's none of that weird joltiness that you sometimes get with older hybrid systems. This one seems very well calibrated. I like the fact that I can switch through my regen modes with my button here, and I can have it in level 1, don't get much, level 2, get a bit more, and level 3, it really starts to brake. So if you are used to an EV, or if you've ever driven an EV, you'll know what that sensation feels like and how it can recoup any lost energy that you would have from braking and feed that back in to the electric battery so that you've got that power when you put your foot down and you need it again. Overall, it's a really decent package, and I am struggling to get my head around the price. Basically, I don't know where they've saved the money. It's not immediately obvious, and that is a huge win for MG, because normally you can tell where they've scrimped and saved on things, but this time it's proving rather difficult. But what I think I'll do now is I'll pull over and I'll do you a bit of a conclusion. Right then, the new ZS. What do I think? Well, it's incredible value for money, and that is basically the headline of this car. How have they achieved the pricing that they have when it's faster than pretty much all of its rivals? It looks pretty good now. It's got the hybrid tech. It's improved its CO2. It's improved its efficiency. It's slightly bigger in the back. What's not to like? So it is a thumbs up from Buckle Up, and if you've enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts on the new ZS Hybrid Plus, but most importantly, please do subscribe to the Buckle Up YouTube channel and turn notifications on so you never miss one of our uploads. If you want to support what we do, you can follow us on social media by looking in the description below. Also down there, you'll find ways to support us through buying our merchandise or becoming a channel member, so why not check out those things as well. But thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.